Hello everyone and welcome to another video. Today I'm going to be doing my June wrap up and I had such a great reading month in June. I read 14 books and I pretty much enjoyed all of them. There were like one or two that was like but for the most part it was great. Loved it. I was reading so much and like the last week I didn't get to read as much because I was on vacation. So I'm really pleased with 14 books. It's my biggest reading month of the year so far. So let's get on into it. So this video isn't super long. The first book I read in June was The Way You Make Me Feel by Maureen Gu. This follows a girl named Clara who is Korean American and her dad is Korean Brazilian, so there's a lot of diversity in that aspect. Clara is this huge prankster. She doesn't take things too seriously. She loves pulling pranks and making jokes on people. And one day she gets elected for homecoming queen and she makes this joke out of it. So this girl, Rose, gets really upset because she is kind of like the super uniform, lots of pressure on her so she could have the perfect future, all that stuff. And so Clara and Rose get in this huge fight and they get in so much trouble. So they are told that they can work at Clara's dad's food truck over the summer. And if they don't, then they will get suspended from school. And so Clara and Rose, who hate each other, have to work in this food truck. It's a Korean Brazilian like mashup food truck, so that was really cool. I love books about food trucks. That is such a weird like thing, but I love them. But I ended up giving this one 3 out of 5 stars because Clara is not my favorite. I don't like her actually. I think she's mean and I'm not into like pranksters and stuff. I just think she's mean. However, I think her character development was really good. In this book is a hate to love friendship, which was really cool. I really loved that. The love interest in this is Hamlet, and he was just so sweet and amazing and just so pure and innocent, and I loved him so much. I also really love Clara's dad. So in this book it's just Clara and her dad because Clara's mom is actually a social media influencer, so she kind of left and does her own thing. So I really like the dynamic between Clara and her dad. But yeah, I gave this one 3 out of 5 stars, mainly because I didn't like the main character. The next book I read was City of Bones by Cassandra Clare. This is a reread for me. I am currently rereading all of Cassandra Clare's books, which is a ginormous feat. If you don't know, this is the first book in the Mortal Instruments, so it follows this girl named Clary who is just living her average life until one day she starts seeing things that nobody else is seeing. Lo and behold, there's this secret shadow hunter, like dark world where there's demons and vampires and werewolves, and there's these people called shadow hunters who hunt demons. I would be really surprised if you hadn't heard of the series yet. I really love this series. It has been such a fun time rereading them. I love all the characters. I think the world building in here is really incredible. It's really fascinating to read about all the different supernatural creatures and just like the shadow hunter world in general. So basically I give this one 5 out of 5 stars because I love Cassandra Clare's books. I will say my only slight problem now upon rereading, because this is my first time reading them since I first read them years and years ago, my only slight problem is the plot twist that happens in here. If you've read it, you know, and I don't want to say it. I know the plot twist gets resolved, but it's still not my favorite. But yeah, 5 out of 5 stars. The next book I read was Fairest by Marissa Meyer. Now this is Levana's backstory. Levana is the villain in the Lunar Chronicles series and I love the Lunar Chronicles. It is like my favorite series. It's great. Love it. I hadn't read this one yet, obviously, because I just read it. And I hate Levana so much, like in the series. So I was going into this like kind of preparing myself to start feeling sorry for her. And I did at the beginning, and then at the end I was like, no, I still hate her. This is one of those books where some of the stuff Levana did, I got secondhand embarrassment and I just had to put it down and just be like, girl, why? I also, my notes in here for Fairest, it just says, I still hate Levana. That's just how it is. Whatever. But I give this one 5 out of 5 stars because Marissa Meyer's world and writing is just my favorite thing. The next book I read was Listen to Your Heart by Casey West. If you don't know by now, Casey West is my favorite contemporary author. I love her so incredibly much. So this one follows a girl named Kate who is really shy and she really hates talking to people, but her best friend convinces her to join the podcasting class. And of course, the shy girl that hates talking gets picked as one of the hosts for the podcast. Now, I always love Casey West characters so much, and this book was no different. I love the characters. I always love the relationships. I love this one. This one, if you can't tell, is also set in a lake. She lives on a lake with a bunch of her family members, like all her aunts and uncles and cousins, and that was one of my favorite things, was the family dynamic. They kind of have like this open house rule where they just go in between houses, and one of the things they do is they have a cousin night, which was really cool and really fun. That was really fun to read about. They even have a community dog. They named him CD for community dog because he just goes between house, which is great. I love Casey West. I gave this one 5 out of 5 stars. The next book I read was Vampire Academy by Rochelle Mead. This is book 1 in the Vampire Academy series, and I haven't read these in so long. This was a reread for me, so it was really great to be back in this world. I had forgotten so much. So this book follows a girl named Rose and a girl named Lissa. Rose is half vampire, half human, and she is the protector of Lissa, who is a Moroi, can't say it, but it's basically vampire royalty, and so each vampire has a protector because they're kind of going extinct because of the bad vampires. Yeah, if you can't tell, Vampire Academy is about vampires. I gave this one 4 out of 5 stars, mainly because I hate Rose Hathaway with a burning fire inside of my soul. I just can't stand her. She is so annoying. Don't like her. Lissa is not my favorite either, but the two like love interests, Christian and Dimitri, I love them so much. I would die for them. They are so great. But yeah, I'm hoping, because I don't remember a lot in the series, I'm hoping that I start enjoying Rose and Lissa more. We'll see. Also, I didn't realize that this needs a trigger warning for self-harm. That part I completely forgot about. So trigger warning for self-harm. The next book I read was One Was Lost by Natalie D. Richards, and this is like a thriller mystery kind of novel, and this book is starting to make me realize that I might actually like thriller mystery. I always said I didn't, but I love this book so much. I was really worried going into it because, like I said, I haven't had the best of luck with thriller mystery, but this one was just so good. So this follows a group of classmates who are on this field trip for their school. Obviously, that's what field trips are for. They end up getting cut off from the rest of the group, and one day they wake up, it's the middle of the day, they feel like they've been drugged, they feel super sick, they look down on their arms, and each person has a tattoo on their arms, tattoo written in Sharpie. The words are deceptive, damaged, dangerous, and darling. So they each have to kind of look at each other and figure out what that means. Like, why does one person have dangerous, and why does that one girl have darling? We'll see. Soon enough, people are getting hurt, injured. They think people are dead. People might be dead. People are dead. Who knows? It's wonderful. It's great. The setting is in the forest, and I love the forest. I just went hiking in the Great Smoky Mountains National Park, and I couldn't help but think of this book the entire time, which is kind of creepy, but oh well. I gave this one 4.5 out of 5 stars. I don't know why it wasn't like a 5-star for me. There was just that one little thing missing, but I loved it. The next book I read was The Princess and the Fangirl by Ashley Poston. This is kind of a companion novel to Geekerella, which I would recommend reading Geekerella before you read this, just because you get more out of it that way. But this is dual perspective. It follows a girl named Imogen and a girl named Jess, and Jess is this huge celebrity that is in Starfield, which is kind of like their Star Trek or Star Wars of this world, and Imogen is a huge fan of Starfield, and this takes place at a convention called ExcelsiCon, which is like Comic-Con. It's amazing. I want to go so bad, even though it's fake. But they end up switching places because Imogen and Jess look alike, and they switch places, stuff goes down. It's crazy. I love it. I love these books so much. They just feel like home to me. They're filled with so much nerd references and fandom references, and it's at a convention, a nerd convention, and those are my favorite places to be. They just make me so happy, and reading this book made me incredibly happy. This book is very diverse. Imogen has 2 moms, and her brother is a high school quarterback that is gay, and he has a boyfriend, which we see both of them, and they are lovely. And then Jess is either lesbian or bisexual. I can't remember if it like plainly says it, but she does have a relationship with a girl in this book. I loved the characters so much. I loved the diversity. Like I said, it just felt like home. It was so good, but it also brought up such important topics that like you don't really think about and you don't expect from a book like this. It talked about the things actors and actresses go through, specifically actresses because Jess is an actress. It touched on topics like feeling stuck in your job, sexual harassment, hating the character you play, stuff like that, which was really, really awesome. That like felt really important to me, and I really love that. I gave this one 5 out of 5 stars. The next book I read was Dear Evan Hansen by Val Emick. This is a book based on the Broadway show by the same name. It follows this kid named Evan Hansen who is ridden with anxiety, so he doesn't have a lot of friends, he doesn't talk to a lot of people, but his therapist recommended that he write letters to himself. So one day at school he wrote a letter to himself, and this kid that's kind of been bullying him throughout the day takes the letter from him, and that kid ends up dying by suicide with Evan's letter in his pocket. So the kid who died by suicide, Connor, his parents think that Evan is his best friend, and so Evan tells them, yeah, we were, and kind of gets wrapped up in this lie. I give this one 3 out of 5 stars because the lie made me really uncomfortable. I understand why Evan did it, but I didn't like it, if that makes sense. I really liked the anxiety and depression representation in here, but that lie just really bothered me. I mean, that's the whole point of the story, is that lie. It's surrounded by that lie, and that is what makes up the story, but I think I would enjoy this one more on Broadway. The next book I read was Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince by J.K. Rowling. This is in the Harry Potter series, obviously, and I am rereading the series through audiobook, so I'm obviously almost done because this is the 6th book. I just love this series. What can I say? I mean, you should know by now that I love the series. If you don't, hello, welcome to my channel. I love Harry Potter. So obviously I gave this one 5 out of 5 stars. Not sure if I already said that, but it's kind of implied. It's interesting because rereading the series through audiobook, I don't know how many times I've read the series now, but I am learning through this reread that I love Harry so much. Like, he is so underrated. Like, I saw a tweet yesterday that it was like, nobody's favorite character in Harry Potter is Harry Potter, and I just felt angry because I love Harry so much. I understand the angst. People are like, oh, he's so angsty, but I mean, he's been through a lot, okay? Like, he's been through a lot. But I love Harry. I love the series. What more can I say? The next book I read was Paranormal C by Kirsten White. This is the first book in this trilogy. It follows this girl named Evie who is kind of wrapped up in the supernatural world. She is this human who, as far as they know, is the only person in the world that can see through all the supernatural glamours. So she works for this supernatural organization that kind of helps protect the world. It's great. I love it. It is filled with so many supernatural creatures. The book lists a few. It says vampires, werewolves, fairies, shapeshifters. They even show like hags and things like that that I've never seen in books before. I've probably seen them on Supernatural because it's supernatural. But this book honestly felt like a young adult supernatural in young adult form. I really loved it. I love the characters. I am just such a sucker for supernatural creatures, and this was everything I wanted it to be, and I can't wait to continue the series and meet even more supernatural creatures. I gave this one 4 out of 5 stars. The next book I read was Again But Better by Christine Riccio, and I loved this book so much. It follows this girl named Shane who feels like she's doing college all wrong. So when the opportunity comes up to study abroad in London, she takes it, hoping that she will turn her college career around. She will make friends, she will kiss a boy, she'll have fun, get out of her comfort zone. So when she gets there, she has this awesome writing internship, which her parents don't know about. Her parents think she's doing pre-med. so she kind of lied to them about it because she wants to do what she wants and follow her dreams. She meets a lot of friends, she travels a lot. It's so great. So if you don't know, I studied abroad in London just like Shane did. I always felt like I was doing college wrong until I went and studied abroad. Pretty much all the places she traveled to in this book, I traveled to while I was there. So I've seen some people saying that all that traveling is not realistic, but it totally is because I did the same exact thing. So this book is also told in like 2 parts. Part 1 is 2011 and part 2 is 2017? Let me see. Yes, part 2 is 2017. So you get to see her as she is, and then you get to see her kind of in the future. I love the character so much. I really loved Shane's growth. She was really awkward, but I also could relate to her in some of the aspects. I loved all the fandom references. Of course, if it's written by a booktuber, it's gonna have all those fandom references, hopefully. Just like Christine did. It was great. It was wonderful. It just felt so nostalgic to me because I went through a lot of the same things that Shane did, and I absolutely loved it. The next book I read was also a reread, and that was Breaking Dawn by Stephanie Meyer. I was rereading these books through audiobooks, so I have now finished my reread. I love this one. I think after rereading the series, I think this is my favorite book in the series. It's just so great. I love meeting all the other vampires and learning about their gifts and just learning more about the vampire world through that. I also love the development from the friendship of Edward and Jacob. It was just so heartwarming, and there was this, like, I'm getting chills thinking about it. There's this line that Edward says to Jacob near the end. He says, "Goodbye, Jacob, my brother, my son." And I was crying when I heard that. I'm like tearing up right now. I just loved it so much, and I gave this one 5 out of 5 stars. The next book I read was Into the Mist by David Brill. So this is tales of death and disaster, mishaps and misdeeds, misfortune and mayhem in Great Smoky Mountains National Park. This is volume 1. So this is over the course from 1931 to 2013, and it talks about all of the accidents and deaths that have happened in the Great Smoky Mountains National Park. I bought this while I was there a few days ago, and I just read it as soon as I got it. It's really morbid, but I'm one of those people that I kind of love morbid things. It's fine. I'm totally cool, whatever. So this one was really interesting to read, especially because a lot of the things happened at the places where I was, so I could picture it exactly. It's crazy. You need to research like things that have happened in national parks. It might like make you rethink visiting, but it also, for me, makes me want to go even more. A lot of the national parks I've been to, so it's interesting reading all the dark history about it, you know? I give this one 5 out of 5 stars. And finally, we're at the last book I read for the month of June, and that was Please Ignore Vera Deeds by A.S. King. This has been on my TBR for so long, and this was my first A.S. King book I've ever read. So this follows a girl named Vera whose best friend Charlie, right at the beginning of the book, is dead. And Vera kind of knows the secret about how he died, what happened, and so she has to decide if she wants to clear his name or not. Now you might be thinking, they're best friends, why wouldn't she? But the problem is, a few months before the accident, Charlie kind of did the unthinkable, and they were ex-best friends at the time that he died. So she's kind of like, should I leave him in the dust or should I clear his name? So this book, I had a lot of problems with it. It talks a lot about underage drinking and drug use, and it talks about it like it's normal that every high schooler goes through, and I know some do, but that was not my experience at all, and so that wasn't normal to me. I hate reading about underage drinking and drugs. That's just who I am. I'm sorry, like, you can do what you want, but for me, I can't relate to it, so I don't like reading about it as much. Also, the characters were kind of iffy, not really sure if I liked them or not. So I gave it 2 out of 5 stars, and the reason why I gave it 2 instead of 1 was because I wanted to keep reading. I wanted to see what happened and find out the mystery and clear Charlie's name, basically. But yeah, hopefully I like A.S. King's other books. I did love the writing, and these chapters were so short, and I am a sucker for short chapters. So those are all the books that I read in June. I have to edit this video. It's currently at 30 minutes. Hopefully it's not too long. If you stuck around and watched the whole thing, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Let me know your favorite book that you read in the month of June. I think my favorite new book that I read, because I read a lot of rereads, was Again But Better by Christine Riccio. It just fills my heart with so much joy. But that is it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. As always, my social media links will be down below, and I'll see you next time.